Hey mates, Blind Prime here, wanting to talk to you today about Transformers, the movie 4, Age of Extinction, Optimus Prime. We have him right here from Studio Series with his sword and shield. I think this is an excellent Prime, and today we are going to get into talking about him. He's also the Prime from the 5th movie, apparently. So, they went ahead and covered movie 5 and movie 4. And if I had to change one thing about the movies, I would edit out a certain diner scene. Yes, I would. Romeo and Juliets do not belong in Transformers. Good God, that's such a stupid scene. You ever wonder if Mark Wahlberg was just sitting there going, "Oh my God, what did I sign up for? What is this director doing? I don't think I'm going to go to the party he invited me to later. I don't really like this city. I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now. Definitely not going to his parties." He said Diddy may be there. I don't know if there was an actual party or not, but that's just me imagining what was going through Mark Wahlberg's head while these two people are talking to him about Romeo and Juliet. And neither of them are in their teens. I'm pretty sure they were both in their early 20s during that scene. So it's just, why didn't you just make Mark Wahlberg's daughter an adult? She was 17. All you had to do was say she was 1 year older, and none of that needed to happen. But why? Why did it happen? Because some directors are creepy MFers. That's why it happened. Because there are just some creepy people out there that others should kind of just stay away from. Oh man, that was just oh, that nearly ruined that movie for me. If it wasn't for the promise of Dinobots at the end, I would have walked out of the. I would have ended it right there, because that was just wow. And the fact that rally car was not Jazz or anyone else. Like, how are you gonna bring in a rally car and it's not a Transformer? Shame on you, movie. Shame, shame, shame. I think that movie would have been a lot better if the bad guys, the cemetery people, cemetery dance, cemetery wind, whatever the hell they called themselves, hey, if their vehicles were actually Decepticons and robots in disguise, that would have been an amazing flip of the switch. It's just like they pull up and then they're like firing at the Optimus Prime, and one of their vehicles is like, "Oh wait, that's Optimus Prime." And then it just straight up transforms with the people still inside of it and squashes them flat. And it's just like, blood coming out of it all over the place. And it's just firing at Optimus Prime. And it's like, "I'm going to get you, you Autobot scum." Oh, that would have been amazing. That would have changed that movie forever if you had taken out the Romeo and Juliet scene and made cemetery dance vehicles into Decepticons, and that would have explained everything. Why they were being evil. It's because their vehicles were Decepticons, and they were changing what they were hearing on the radio. So they were actually being lied to the entire time, and that would have been a beautiful, beautiful thing for the Decepticons to do after Dark of the Moon. And that would have been a movie I would love to have watched, or listened to at least. But so I will get into the actual review for Optimus Prime. I couldn't help myself. I gotta talk about that movie sometimes, because that movie just there was so much that could have gone right with it, and it made it into a comedy with how much went wrong with that movie. And it's not a bad watch. It isn't like Revenge of the Fallen, which is just an absolute crapshoot of editing. So you don't even understand. That movie sucks. Okay, just watch the first 20 minutes of it, and then fast forward to the last 20 minutes of it, and you've got the movie. You don't need to watch anything in the middle, because I don't even think Michael Bay watched the stuff in the middle. You could tell with the editing process. I don't even think they cared about the stuff in the middle. And they were like, "No, we're going to introduce the characters, and then we're going to have them fight in the desert." What happens between introducing the characters and fighting in the desert? I don't know. Come up with something, man. What do you think? I'm a writer? Good God. I'm just Michael Bay. I just care about the explosions. And there's explosions in the beginning and explosions at the end. I don't care about the middle because there's no JJ explosion. I think Michael Bay just he's very attracted to explosions. He's an explosion entrepreneur. He's an explosionist. Yes. So, okay, let's get into the actual Transformer here. So this is Optimus Prime in his robot mode. He is an excellent little robot mode. This guy did surprise me with his transformation and stuff. I was very happy with how this character turned out, and with all the great primes that we've been getting lately, I have to say, it's a good time to be a Transformers collector, because even though I didn't have the greatest like for the Optimus Prime from the fourth movie, I never got to see the Optimus Prime from the fourth movie. So this was cool. And I didn't realize he looked like this. I honestly didn't. I didn't know he had these little pauldrons on his shoulders of metal. I didn't know he had this cool little thing going on his chest. I didn't realize that he looked like this at all. So this is one of the cool things I enjoy about the Transformers Studio Series line, is that for me, I get to experience Transformers I never saw before, and I get to finally, quote-unquote, see them. And that is awesome. I love that. So today, let's talk about this guy, and I will share with you my thoughts and feelings as we discuss him from the bottom of the feet all the way to the top of the head. First, let's talk about these accessories. So he comes with 3 accessories. He comes with this shield, and he comes with this sword. And by the way, this sword is awesome, and you can give it to your 86 Optimus Prime, which I do all the time. It's an amazing double-handed bastard sword. This is a claymore? Nah, it's not really a claymore. I think bastard sword is the better representation of it, but it is close to a claymore, especially when it comes to size. Claymores are supposed to be a little bit taller than the person that's wielding them, so this is not a little bit taller than Prime, so it's not a claymore, at least that I know. Then again, I'm not a sword specialist, so I could have just spouted a bunch of stuff that's wrong. He also comes with this little accessory, which is hidden in his shield. And this is his knife. Yeah, he pulls it out of his boot whenever anybody in a convertible comes by and pulls the knife on him. And he's like, that ain't no knife. This is a knife. And then they drive away. And that's how Optimus Prime handles most of his problems. He just holds this up and goes, this is a knife. And those of you that got that reference, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Okay, so he comes with his big old conifer, which, by the way, just for a little size scaling, is like half the size of the sword. It's a huge knife. And it doesn't even have a handle really. So if we match pommels together, yeah, it's okay, it's less than half the sword. I'd say it's about a third of the sword, but still, it's a third of the sword long, and it is a wicked feeling knife. Now you can put this knife in the shield, and you flip the shield around to its back. You'll find there's a siege peg, and there is a rectangular peg on the bottom, and then there on this little knife there is a rectangular peg hole on one side of it, and actually I think on both sides of it. So no matter which side you flip the knife on, it will stick in that rectangular hole, and then you just do it with the knife blade sticking down below. And then he's got a little knife on the end of his shield. So when Optimus Prime, you can put his shield on his arm right here, around the elbow, has a siege port specifically for that. And, he can just wield the shield and, you just slice things with his shield. Slice, slice, slice. Or you can put the shield in his hand. And then he wields the shield. So, you can do things with the shield that's really cool, and I think the shield's got a neat texture to it. We'll take out the knife for now. And this shield's really unique. You got this bit in the center that's round, and I assume glows, and then you have this curve around the sides of it, and then it comes down to the straight lines. So it curves like a cul-de-sac. It reminds me a lot of a cul-de-sac and how this curve is. And then at the top of the curve, there's a little bit that sticks out, so you can imagine that as a driveway for one of the houses in the cul-de-sac. And then the longer bit that goes down is the road that gets you to the cul-de-sac, and it's just cul-de-sac right there in the center. It's a big circle, but it works out pretty good. I think this is an excellent little shield. I like that there's two bits that flop. You get the impression that this shield's supposed to be able to transform or something, but I haven't really figured it out. I have not figured out how to make this sword do anything, and it seems like it could, but at the same time, it seems like maybe it's just different pieces of plastic glued together. So I'm not exactly sure, and I haven't figured it out. But over this week, as we talk about this figure, I will let you know if I find anything out about this shield in addition. Now, the sword we talked about, it's got some decent textures to it. I like the fact that we've got these neat little what feels like runes on the sides of the sword going almost all the way up to the tip. That's fun. And then the pommel itself, we've got some etchings in there, and then the handle has got its own little etchings. And this is a well textured and well detailed sword. I like it. I like it a lot. And then there's the knife, which, surprisingly, where'd that sword go? The knife and the sword are very similar to each other. Oh, so I forgot to mention, the sword is not entirely balanced, but it's really close to balanced. This little knife is about half the weight of the sword. It's some thicker plastic. So let's talk about the figure itself now. Flipped him up to his showcasing the bottoms of his feet, and we got some hollowness down here, which is a shame. It's only in his toes, though, so it's forgivable. Is there any siege ports? No siege ports. But there is ankle tilt. Yay, ankle tilt. And due to the transformation, you can fold the nets. Sometimes these things on the backs of his feet fall off. I got no control over those. Sometimes they just don't want to. They just don't want to do the thing that they're designed to do, which is just, stay there and not move. You're supposed to just be a foot pad thing. So put that back in there. There we go. Oh, no. Right, I put it back in upside down. There it is. Yeah, so these little bits fall off the legs all the time, which I really wish that Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime had foot pieces that just fell off and weren't pinned in with metal pins. Then, we could actually flip around that reverse heel without any problems. Watch me flip around his heel. Oh snap. Oh snap. Look at that. I did it. I flipped around this Optimus's heel. It was that simple. It was that easy, and I wish it was that easy with 86 Prime. I do wish it was that easy with 86 Prime. So that's all we got to talk about with the feet. I just wanted to rip into 86 Prime's bad feet for a second. Pins are nice, but not all the time. Some of these joints just need no pins. They work better whenever they are something that you can pull apart and put back together. I like it like that. So up here at the top, we've got some greave textures for his feet. Yeah, he doesn't have normal feet this time. He's got actual armor. He has got armored boots, greaves, and they go up to his legs. And I believe the armored boots are greaves, unless greaves are just the pants, and then the boots are just boots. I can never remember. I can't keep it straight. So here on his lower legs, we've got some really cool textures again. We've got some little blops and stuff like that. I don't know what's going on with those. There's these little spikes sticking out. That's odd. The texture-wise is really cool, and I like the fact that we've got some of the kibble from the vehicle mode. Like the smokestacks are right here on the side of his leg. I like that. I like the fact that a piece of the truck is just hanging out there. When you turn him around to the back, we've got another piece of the truck just kind of hanging out on the back of his calf, making up the calf muscle. That's cool. I like how they managed to pull that in. And the curve of that piece of the truck, making up the calf muscle, is is beautiful. That is amazing. And then, you know, we'll rotate the leg a little more so you can see the insole, you know, the end of the leg. And there's the wheels, and they're just kind of folded in there, and the edges of them are sticking out where you can roll them a bit. And I like how smooth that is. I like how you can see the wheels, but they're not in the way, and you can kind of see how all that becomes possible. That's really good. That was, and the transformation to get into these legs is a lot of fun. These all stack very well. This is a bunch of stuff stacked on top of each other to make very solid legs in a way that I was not expecting, and I was very, very, very satisfied with. Now, moving up here to the thighs, and what do we have? We have some of the most well-sculpted thighs I have come across in a long time. These are amazing. This is straight up armor. These are just panels of armor. Yeah, that's so nice. It's so nice. I love it. I love that there's these textures going all the way around this thigh. We've got some wonderful stuff going on here. And this knee pad, how it sticks out, it adds to that. It really does blend well. This is one of the first Transformers that it doesn't feel like the lower leg is just a different piece of clothing that they're wearing. The lower leg and the thigh merge together to create a leg that just has some extra armor hanging off the back. And that is amazing. They did a good job blending. And that's something you don't get very often. You don't get a really good blending of lower leg and upper leg. Now let's come over here to between the legs. We've got these two pieces of armor sitting down. So instead of one yield sign, he's got two yield signs beside each other, and they're much thinner. They're like very odd having these pieces here, but just a little tabard that hangs down below his legs, and it just works for his armor. It works for what he's wearing. Around here to the back, we do get a bit of an Optimus butt, but for the most part, we've just got more of this is the nose of the truck that takes up his back area, and it makes up parts of his backpack. And I like that that's the nose of the truck making up the backpack. And then up here, we've got sides of the truck, like we got the little rear view mirrors on either side, on these little flappy doodles that sit out. You can actually fold them out even more if you want to kind of make them into little winglets, but I just kind of fold them back towards there and let them hang out loose. Of course, there is a siege port on his back, and in that siege port, I have the fourth accessory, which is a little piece that has a siege peg and a siege port, and it has a rectangle cut into it. And that rectangle holds his sword. So we can take his sword here, and we can slide it down. There he is. Isn't that neat? So he can actually have a sword hanging out above his back, and it does help for his look. Like, look at that. Yeah, he's totally going the Leonardo approach. He just needs another sword stacked on the other side. Get two primes and stack those swords crisscross on his back. Then you can, of course, put the shield on his back as well, and that gives a decent look. You know, that's not bad, and it doesn't add too much weight to his back because they did manage to make these things, you know, pretty light. So that is something you can do with this figure that I enjoy. I like it when they give us a shield, but they also give us something that can store the shield and the sword. And the sword sheath is just truly, it's a fun piece. All right, so more about his backpack. Not really much more to talk about. We got the top of the vehicle, which can fold down slightly and just kind of cover that sword sheath a bit, but you can also just kind of have it sit up. It's not really going to do much, but we'll just fold it down for the rest of this video. There we go. And now let's move to the front of him, because his front chest area is glorious. We've got some little muscles in here on the sides made up of car parts. We've got his abs, which are pretty well done. And he doesn't really have an ab crunch, sadly, but the transformation to get into this step was actually really interesting, and I can't wait to talk about it in tomorrow's Blindformers video. But just know that this chest is highly, highly detailed and highly sculpted. It'd been fun if we had gotten a matrix. I'm pretty sure there's no way to get into any sort of matrix holder. But then again, you know, I don't even know if the matrix still exists in the live action movies. And he's got pieces of armor making up his pecs, and it's smooth. It's one of the few smooth places on his chest. Everything else is rough textures. It's just there's so much sculpt work. They tried to shove as much as they could into it. When we raise up the arm a little bit, we feel in here we've got the more sides of the vehicle that make up, actually I think those are the doors that are folded up into each other that make up his trapezius muscles and stuff, coming down from the underside of his armpit to his waist. And it's on each side. We can raise up that one just a bit more. And I think it turned out pretty good. I liked the angle there. That was cool. And it was fun to get it into as well. Now we come over here to the arms, and we've got this little piece of armor hanging out over the shoulder pauldron. Then we got most of these arms are actually made up of all these are kind of hidden inside of the vehicle mode when we transform him. So his arms don't have much kibble on them at all, which I do say is a little bit of a shame. I do love me some kibble on the arms, but this isn't too bad. These are sleek. They're not smooth. They got a siege port on the side, and they are rough. Like, not bad rough. As in rough in the sense that there's a lot of textures going on here, and it feels like, areas of muscle and stuff, and in layers of armor, like especially around the siege port. We've got these really smooth pieces of armor that feel like they are layered around his arm. And it makes me wonder, like, what in the world, man? What happened to you after the third movie to make you create such an up-armored form? No, that's the movie I want to see. What happened between TF3 and TF4 to put the world in the state it was in TF4? Like, wow. That's something that really needed to be talked about more. But I like the little spiky armor on the shoulder pauldron. I like that it feels like it may be the bumper for the semi-truck. It's a really fun piece, and I'm not exactly sure where it goes in the transformation, but we'll learn about it tomorrow. And coming around here, so the elbow has a single joint, but the joint does pull decently well, and he does raise up at a 90 at the elbow, not the elbow, the shoulder, but the shoulder can spin 360, and that's not too bad of a shoulder. Not too bad at all. Not too shabby. Mr. Shoulder. Fold that armor back up. I like how the armor can unfold and sit like outside the arm, or you can close it up and it sits flush against the arm. That's cool. And then the hand rotates, and then the hand also opens and shuts. But no individual finger articulation, sadly. So this figure, all in all, pretty good. Pretty good. Moving up here to the head. And the head has got some wonderful little textures going on here. This is one of the more heavily textured Optimus Prime heads that I have in my collection. There's a lot going on this head, and what I enjoy the most is not just what's going on it, but how they managed to texture that in there. How they managed to make this feel like one of the more organic heads of Optimus Prime. I know it's weird, but that's the best way I got for it. Like little ridges there, and you got these really angry eyebrow feeling things. His mouth is weird. It's a little, and his nose is kind of tiny for the head. It's definitely in very. There's a lot going on this head. They spent a lot of work texturing this head. That's for sure. Sadly, it can't rotate all the way around because it's got these two little things on either side of it that really do stop it. But it can look down slightly and it can look up slightly. But there's not much going on this head. Though I do like that he's got kind of a mohawk feeling thing going on there. It's like an Optimus Prime with a mohawk. It's odd, but it's not a negative. It works for him. And the humidity, it does not work for me. All right, so down here I forgot to mention his waist articulation. His legs can kick up at a 90. They can kick back a little more than a 90. They can kick at the side at a 90. No ratchet there. Waist rotation is a little bit, like if you move this skirt piece up a bit, you can rotate his waist 360 degrees, and then put the skirt piece back down. And then the knees pull a 90, and they're not double jointed. Sad, I know. So, my final thoughts and feelings on this figure, after going through them a lot, I think this is an S-ranked Transformer. This robot mode is excellent. He is an excellent little robot mode. Wish his backpack tabbed in a little bit better, but for the most part, this is wild. I like this Transformer. He doesn't balance as well as other Transformers do, granted, but I don't expect Optimus Prime to be a balancer. You know, he's not a nimbly bimbly cat. He's more on the lines of a bruiser. So let's see if we can get him to kick to the sky. Can you pull that move? No, he can't do it. Maybe if I pull that leg just a bit more. Oh, no, he's fallen too far on the other side. Oh, no, now he fell too far back, and he broke that piece off the back of his heel. So you can't really get him into some high kick positions, but I think that overall, this is an excellent Transformer. He definitely deserves an S ranking because they did manage to do a lot here, and it feels really good. It does feel like a complete Transformer, and that is something that I like. I like a lot about him. I also enjoy the fact that I get to feel this Transformer for the first time, and I'm not dissatisfied. I do say that I thought his truck mode was going to be a flat-faced Mack truck. I was not expecting a truck with a nose, but I don't like... It's not a negative thing. It's not something that makes me go, oh, I hate it. It's just something that I was amazed by, and I really appreciate it. And that's one of the reasons I love the Studio Series line, because they do try so hard to get as much detail into these things as possible. This is a top-ranked Transformer, and that's why everybody's giving it praise. This is a good leader class. Good leader class price point. Weight-wise, decent weight for a leader class. He is pretty amazing. So, thanks for watching today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I almost forgot to give you a size comparison with, I brought up Bumblebee. We can do a little size comparison with Bumblebee, but I definitely talked a little bit too long about this guy today. There's the Bumblebee size comparison. Bumblebee stands up to his, just at his waist rotation is the Bumblebee. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.